Share. Share via email post to your profile report story. Deku. Ochako stopped after seeing Izuku get one punch to the ocean. She turned to look at the fan who got caught up at the fight. Kei can now get to safety, call the police and I'll try to buy you some time. She instructed. However, the fan froze at her tracks, unable to move. Kanao. Ochako shouted to get the fans, you Uravity. Kanao finally responded, trembling in fear. I'll keep the villain busy, please get to safety and call for help. The brunette repeated, charging towards the villain. Muscular overheard the conversation and charged towards Kanao, ignoring Uravity. Don't even think about it. Muscular's speed was too much for Uravity to overcome in order to reach the Kanao in time. But then, Deku rose from the ocean using his float quirk, propelled himself using Air Force and Fa Jin, which instantly gave him the opportunity to close the distance between him and Muscular. Fo 100%, Detroit Smash. Deku combined the power of Fajin and the propulsion of Air Force to maximize the punch. He was able to stop Muscular from going after Kanao, giving the fan enough time to run away. However, the amplified power of Muscular was able to withstand the blow, catching the punch with his right hand. That did nothing, kid, Muscular mocked with a smile on his face. He pulled Deku's hand towards himself, chambering his left hand, punching the hero on his stomach. I shouldn't have used the trigger, this is nothing. He shouted, using the momentum punch to force Deku to the sand, forming a crater as the hero crashes against it. Where's that power you used against Shigaraki? I thought you were the next All Might. He taunted, placing his foot on top of Izuku's chest, pressing with all of his weight. I was expecting a strong opponent, kid, but damn it, this is disappointing. Gaara, damn it. He's way too strong than he used to be. Deku thought, vomiting blood. Muscular picked up Deku by his face, squeezing as hard as he can. Deku grunted in pain as he tries to loosen the grip of the villain. That's not gonna work, kid. You better not make it harder for you than it already is. Goto arrogantly said, adding another layer of muscle on his arm that held the hero. Get away from him, Ochako yelled, finally catching up to the villain. She held her arm forward, preparing to use her quirk. Goto heard this, preparing to turn and hit her. As soon as Midoriya saw Ochako, he activated smokescreen, blocking Muscular's vision. What the fuck is this? The villain complained, trying to fan out the smoke. The lack of vision gave the brunette the opportunity to touch the villain, making him float, catching him off guard. Muscular felt Uravity's touch, so he swung his arm towards her. It proved to be ineffective as the villain began hovering above the ground, missing her a few inches. Noticing this, Deku took the opportunity to use Black Whip, wrapping Muscular's wrist, which effectively loosened his grip on him. Izu, are you okay? Ochako asked when he saw Izuku free himself from Muscular. I'm okay, a little phased. Is the girl okay? Deku asked, with the strain of the side effects of his quirk evident. The brunette saw Midoriya trembling in pain. She's alright, thanks to you. Izu's arm. It's shaking. She thought, extremely worried, but she decided to shake it off until the fight is done. Hey, release me, Muscular demanded, obviously vexed about the fact that he's hovering 10 feet off the ground. Uravity, release him on my signal. He chambering his arm, charging pure black tendrils. You got it, Ochako complied, preparing to release the quirk. Promoted stories. You'll also like, MHA reacts to Paranormal Liberation War. County, 73.8K 1.8K. Paranormal Liberation War. The event that shook the world of My Hero Academia and turned the entire country of Japan into a lawless land. Many heroes lost their lives in My Heroes, BNHAX Child. Reader, 36.2K 717. This book is very old and cringy, and quat, mom. Dad, and quat, they're gone, YN, and quat. And quad. Why did they leave me behind? Did they hate me that much? And quad. And quad. No. The Rising of the Shield Hero of Peace. 38.2K 789. When All Might, formerly the #1 hero in Japan, also known as the symbol of peace, is transported to a world where he is dubbed in quad, the shield hero in quad, his name. Firestorm. My Hero Academia X Reader. 84.2K 2.1K. This is my first My Hero Academia book. In a world where everyone has this unique power called a quirk, there is one problem child with an powerful quirk but also a famil. Lunar Knight MHAOCS. 16K 416. And quad, my quirk may be dangerous, but I am the killer. And quad, SS, SS. I remember you, izuocha. 61.7K 924. Unfortunate timing leads to Deku moving to America on his own, much like All Might. When he returns, Class 1A gives him death glares. Was it because of Ochako? M. A Dragon's Trust Book 1. 2.2 M 60.5K. A Dragon's Trust BNHA Various X Nightlight. Reader Book 1. And quad. W. What are you in quad? And quad. A friend. And quad. Tilde 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 tilde. Female. Reader. Male and female love interest. Now. Release. As soon as Muscular fell, Midoriya released his next attack. Pinpoint focus. The black whip hit the villain straight at the chest, sending him towards the rubble from the destroyed dock. After the successful counterattack, Midoriya felt the strain on his arm after using 100% on his black whip. Deku, your arm, Uraraka uttered, checking up on Izuku. I'll be alright. I can't break down this time. If I go down, she'll go down too. Ignore your limit, Deku. He thought to himself, raising his full cowling to 45%. I gotta admit, that sting a little. The villain remarked, getting up from the rubble. Muscular, just give up. We're not gonna let you win this. Soon enough the pros will arrive. The villain noticed the heavy panting of his adversary. He smirked and raising his chin up as a sign of dominance. You sure you can win, kid? You're already at your limit. Haven't caught up with your training. Anyway, I don't care about pros, kid. As long as you die, I'm all good. He then stared at the brunette responsible for breaking his defenses. Little bitch, that quirk of yours is annoying. He grinned wickedly and pointed his finger at Ochako. Ha, I get it. You're the one that Brat Toga wanted to kill. Too bad she failed, he uttered with a mocking tone, adding another layer of muscle that covered half of his face. This time, due to the trigger taking effect on the villain, bits of iron metal started to take shape, greatly increasing his durability. Maybe I should do her a favor and kill you too, he declared, disappearing. He's faster than earlier. Gravity, keep your G. Deku didn't get to finish. Muscular was already in front of Ochako in a matter of a split second. Not even his danger sense was fast enough to warn him about the attack. Afraid of her getting hurt, Deku rushed to her aid, catching the attack with his body. Deku! Gravity shouted in concern as he was sent flying into a concrete that separates the beach from the road. Pretty concerned for the brat, huh? Goto retorted, following his prior punch with a backhand punch, attempting to hit the brunette. Uraraka managed to read his next attack and dodged it by doing a side roll across the sand. Where do you think you're going? He shouted, preparing to attack. However, as Ochako found her footing, she picked up a bunch of sand and threw it on the villain's face, temporarily blinding him. Ag, fuck, damn it, you'll pay for that, he yelled, rubbing his eyes in anger. This gave Ochako time to plan for her counter. I can't fight him one-on-one. He's too strong. Izu's knocked out cold. I hope the pros are on their way. That's it, I'll try my best to hold this guy off, Ochako told herself, looking very determined. Toga might have been right. You and that brat have something special. Disgusting. Muscular's statement struck something in the brunette's mind. Toga's words that haunted her start resurfacing again in the middle of the fight. Izu's weakness. Let's see what Midoriya will do when he sees your dead body. He shouted, blindly charging towards her with devilish intent. Once again he closed the distance in a matter of seconds, hitting Ochako with a backhanded swing on her upper body, which she tried her best to block but to no avail. The force of his swing hit her like a truck, breaking her blocking arm in the process and caused bleeding from the side of her head. Fortunately, at the moment of the attack, Ochako managed to touch the villain's arm, making him float once again as well as minimizing the damage she suffered from the blow. Even so, Uraraka lied on the sand, struggling to stay awake, but then a gust of wind flew past her at an incredible speed. Deku regained consciousness and wasted no time. He witnessed what happened to Ochako and out of pure rage, he leapt through the air and flipped forward, forming an axe kick. You'll pay for that, you bastard. Foe 100%. Manchester. SMAAASSSHHHH, he exclaimed internally. Shit, I can't move. Muscular thought, reinforcing his upper body with iron-hardened muscle. However, Deku's power managed to hit him on his neck, cracking and destroying part of Goto's muscle with the impact of the attack, forcing the villain to meet the ground face first. As soon as he hit the villain, Deku leapt backward, standing in front of Ochako. Ochako, you're hurt, Deku said, getting down on one knee to help her. Izuku. Uravati faintly replied, her right arm is broken, and she may have a concussion. I better finish so we can get to the hospital as soon as possible. Even in full cowling, Muscular's attack was too powerful. I don't know if I can keep up on fighting like this. This was easier when I had my hero costume on. He added, panting heavily as the strain on his body worsened. Then he began wrapping his left arm with black whip, almost like a bandage, acting as a protective layer for Midoriya. He looked over at Ochako and saw bleeding from her head as well as on her arm, a painful sight for him to see. In feat of rage, he wrapped his body with black whip like he once did when he fought his own classmates. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. See, a voice uttered from Ochako's ear. You are a weakness, hehe, you're nothing but a liability for Izuku. Look at him protecting you, how sweet. Toga, Uraraka uttered with fear in her eyes. Look at him, Ochako, doing whatever it takes to protect you. You'll just kill him, Ochako, give up. The brunette looked over at Deku, who's currently fighting and struggling to win against the quirk-boosted Muscular. No, stop, you're not real. She yelled. I stopped you, she added, a bit more agitated. Oh, I'm real, Ochako. I've always been. The villain held a knife on her neck while holding her head as if she's forcing Uraraka to watch the death battle unfold. As long as you are with him, he will always lose. No. He won't be alone, we'll do this together. I may not be strong enough, but I'll support him with my own power. She declared, snapping out of the trance. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. Who would have thought that you can still pack a punch after that? The villain mocked, slowly getting up. Too bad your girlfriend isn't the same. Hearing those words made Deku angrier, resonating with his black whip, making it blacker than lacquer. You're mad. Good. Now I can have my fight to the death. Let's see who's stronger, Midoriya. Goto shouted with raging fury. He slowly walked to Midoriya, but then jogged, then ran faster and faster until he disappeared due to his incredible speed. Deku was about to do whatever it takes to stop him. Ignoring the pain of his body, he activated 100% of full cowling. He was about to meet the villain in the battlefield, but suddenly a hand pulled him away, causing Muscular to completely pass him, running over everything that came to his path like a juggernaut. What do you think you're doing, Izuku? Ochako asked weakly, barely able to stand. Ochako, you're injured. So are you. Izu, don't overdo it, the strain on your body. She faintly replied, but I need to end this now, I have to protect you. Uraraka saw the rage that filled Midoriya's eyes, something that she once felt when they fought Nine in the past. She began to realize what Toga really meant by Midoriya's weakness. Rest now, Ochako. It'll be over soon. He smiled, barely able to endure his injuries as well as the drawback of his quirk. Aizu, keep it together please, don't let your anger get out of control. She said, holding his wrist. We'll finish this together. Don't protect me. I'll support you. She gave a confident smile that calmed his nerves. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. Gran Torino. Captain Tsukauchi. One of the sergeants called, bursting through the door of Tsukauchi's office. Muscular has been spotted at the Takoba Municipal Beach. He announced. What? Why did he suddenly show himself? Gran Torino inquired, running out of the office with Tsukauchi. The call came from a Kunao Tsuyuri. She said UA students Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka are fighting the villain as we speak. This is bad. Sergeant Shinazugawa, contact the nearest heroes and policemen in the area. The captain ordered. Understood. Gran Torino, do you think Midoriya can hold off Muscular until we get there? The kid had just started his training again, he might need assistance. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. That was FC King annoying. What are you, a matador? Goto remarked as he emerged from the concrete he seemingly tunneled into. Enough of this, time to pummel you two to death. As he said this, Midoriya began to notice something. The effects of the triggers are beginning to wear off, a fact that Isamuji was too arrogant to notice. Ochako, I think his trigger He was cut off with a swing to the head which he blocked but was still sent to the sand. Ochako on the other hand wasn't able to block this time, with Muscular striking her on the stomach causing her to twitch in agonizing pain. He then grabbed her head, lifting her up. You could say it's a trademark of his now. Let me go, Ochako demanded, attempting to use her quirk on him. Don't even think about it, he yelled, slamming her against the sand, causing a shockwave that forming another sand crater, leaving a barely conscious Ochako still at the grasp of Goto. Ochako, he shouted with his body on the verge of shutting down. Damn it, I have to endure it just a little longer. Sorry about this, Ochako, but I have to. He activated his full cowling at max 100%. Muscular. Deku called in a husky, gritty voice. No. Why are you so stubborn, Izuku? Uravati thought, barely keeping her eyes open because of the blood that covered almost the entirety of her face. I have to do what I can to help win this, she thought. With all her remaining strength she reached for the villain's body, successfully making him float. Why, you got this, Izu, was the last thing Ochako said before she fell unconscious due to her injuries. Meanwhile, Deku's shout caught the villain's attention, smirking menacingly. Finally, going all out, come at me, Midoriya, Goto challenged. He was about to leap forward to clash with the hero, however he wasn't able to find ground. What the? It's the bitch's quirk. Shit. Knowing he was screwed, all he could do was cross his arm to block the attacks. I'll just add every bit of muscle I can, this will be nothing, he confidently told himself, but then almost instantly he felt the full extent of Izuku Midoriya's power. One for all, full cowling. 100%. Ha! Deku's speed was too much to handle. On top of that, Ochako's quirk made it too easy for Midoriya to forcibly bring Muscular to the ocean so Uraraka wouldn't get caught by the shockwaves. Is that all you got? Bring it on. Muscular continued to taunt, adding more muscle. At that moment, the villain finally caught up to the fact that his quirk boost was starting to run out. Fuck, this is bad, was the only thing he said in his head as Deku goes all out, fighting him. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. Meanwhile, the cops and heroes finally arrived at the beach. Deku and the villain are fighting in the middle of the ocean. How can we assist, sir? One of the officers asked. We can't. Gran Torino interrupted. The kids fighting at 100%. We wouldn't even get near them even if we want to, Captain Tsukauchi. An officer called with a scar on his right cheek. Officer Shinazugawa, what is it? We found one of the victims. He seems to be alive. Captain Tsukauchi, we found Uravati. Another officer who went down at the beach declared. Get the paramedics now. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. Midoriya's continuous attack at Muscular caused multiple shockwaves that created huge waves that were felt even from those at the beach, a testament of Deku's power. No matter how many punches you use, it won't work, kid. I'll just add more muscle to protect myself. He bluffed and tried to swing a punch on the hero even when his floating, though it proved to be ineffective. Then I'll make sure to make every punch count, he shouted, releasing a barrage of 100% punches. TCH, damn it, I can't, he's not giving me time to react. This brat, he's something else. Deku's power was too much even for Muscular. The friction produced by each punch slowly tears and disintegrates the layers of the remaining iron-hardened muscles the villain enforced. It only took a few seconds for all of his protection to be teared down by Midoriya. At the same time, the villain was left weakened after taking all those punches. For the first time in their fight, Muscular was left speechless when he saw Midoriya chambering his last punch. The barrage of blows Deku dealt against the villain was only to build up kinetic energy for his FA Jin. Once he knew it was enough, Deku clenched his fist as hard as he can and yelled with all his might. Fo 1,000,000% Detrawatt SMAAAASSSSHHHHH. Do not take the 1,000,000% literally, thanks. The force of the smash was more than enough to send the villain back to the beach, making him unconscious and bleeding. Midoriya, on the other hand, remained floating in the middle of the ocean, his arms completely broken and heavily panting. After a few minutes, the hero lost all his strength and fell towards the ocean. Thankfully, Gran Torino was just in time to snatch him out. Gee, Gran Torino, sorry we're late, kid. Must have been a hard one. The veteran hero replied as they flew back to the surface where the paramedics were waiting for him. After getting back to the beach, Midoriya could barely stand, and was assisted by one of the paramedics. As he was being brought to the ambulance, he saw Uraraka in a stretcher with a bandage wrapped in her head. He immediately floated towards the brunette. Is she going to be okay? Izuku asked the paramedic assigned to her. She lost a lot of blood, but we'll do everything we can to save her. A tear started to form in the hero's eyes seeing the devastating sight of her bloodied girlfriend being boarded in the ambulance. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. A few hours passed after the fight. Midoriya and Uraraka were brought to the hospital with both of their parents notified of the incident, although Ochako's parents were out of town, so only Inko was able to visit. Their class were also notified about what happened but weren't allowed to visit since it's past their curfew. They were allowed to wait until the next day for them to visit. Izuku, Inko called, bursting through the door. She saw Izuku lying on the hospital bed unconscious, and adjacent to him was Ochako's hospital bed. The Midoriya gasped and teared up seeing the couple. Especially since it's only been a few weeks since his son got out of his coma. It took an hour of waiting before Deku regained his consciousness. Mom. Izuku. Inko cried, happy, aggressively flowing tears when she saw her son open his eyes. She hugged her son by his neck tight. I was so worried, dear. Sorry, Mom. But where is Ochako? He immediately asked. She's right across you, dear. Inko replied with a worried face. Is she gonna be okay? He asked, looking over Ochako's bed where she's covered with bandages on her arms and on her head. As soon as he asked this, Inko was filled with sadness. I don't know, son. The doctor said she suffered a head injury. Before she could finish, Izuku got up from his bed, slowly and strugglingly paced towards Ochako's bed and sat beside her. Izuku, please don't overdo it, son. I'll be alright, Mom. He smiled and turned his attention to his girlfriend. He then reached for Ochako's hand with an extremely worried look. Ochako, please be okay. Blank, underscore, blank, underscore, blank. Author's note, and that is a wrap. Thanks for reading this story. 60 chapters must have been a pain, am I right? Anyways, thanks for staying, I really appreciate you guys. If you hated it, sorry for that. If some of you guys want to read more works from me, leave a comment. In relation to that, I also have another work titled Out of Time, so you can check it out if you have the time. Very brief explanation of this story. It's complicated was really about the Ocha part of this izuocha story, which I awfully wrote and may have gone a bit cringe, sorry.